A lot of men are discriminated against in the dating market. And some of these men are men who are not tall, men who are too fat, men who are too broke, men who don't go to college, men who are, have their own religious beliefs, who are not Christian. Those are some of the men that, have red flags in the dating market. But the first thing I mentioned were those men who are short, especially in the black community. Now, I do understand if you're in the Indian community, Asian community, where men tend to be a little bit more shorter than your average African American or black or white man, things are different. Even in the Latino community, it's a little different. But for the black community, a lot of women look down on shorter black men. And in this particular case, we have a typical brother who is 5'5" that went and got a surgery to go to 5'8", and that was successful. And then he wanted to do it again. Now, before we get into that, I want to play a few clips of women talking about dating short men and why they won't date them. This comes from my buddies over the Daily Rapper Crew. Let's check it out.
Well, I know she said she don't want no more short dudes.
What's short?
Short is her height, probably
6 feet.
3-4 inches taller than her. She 5'4", so you gotta be like 5'8", 5'9".
You gotta be like 6 feet.
Not the 15% of men in America. She did date somebody that was short.
I'm like 5'2".
You wear heels around him?
I couldn't wear heels around
That is the
him,
problem.
and I can't do that because I'm looking down at you.
Damn. Did you feel like you could slap him around?
To a certain extent, I feel like there was a presence when we walked in the room together.
You had a short dude. That's how you felt?
Yeah, I felt like every dude could beat him up.
Wouldn't date a guy that's like 5'4", or date a guy that's like average height. Like, but it goes back to what she said. Like, I want to feel like when I'm walking into a room, like it's like a presence.
Now, again, what you're hearing from these ladies is they don't want to date a man that is short. Again, it has nothing to do if the man is a good man, if he's a builder. They're just saying because we don't believe that he could protect us. And the reality is that these ladies are also concerned what their friends can think. And I'm going to play another clip of a tall woman who is, this time she's white, and she's going to be saying something very similar.
How tall are you?
6 foot tall.
As a tall girl, do you find dating to be easy as your shorter counterpart?
Absolutely not, because I have to have a guy that's like at least as tall as I am, and that's hard to find. All the tall ones are already snatched up, so.
You think that when you're older, you're going to still have that standard?
Yeah, that's a personal preference for sure, like, yeah.
So he has to be at least your height?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why does height play such an important role to you?
I mean, sounds weird, but like domination, like I don't want to feel like the man in the relationship.
You don't think a man who's shorter than you could dominate you?
I feel more dominant if I am taller. So I don't know. I've never been with the guy that's shorter than me that made me feel more dominant, or made it seem like he was more dominant than me.
So as you've heard, a group of non-black women and white women on this whole issue of height is saying the same thing. Now, let me just say this. I know what guys are going to say. Well, if you're a shorter black man, why are you putting up with it? You need to go overseas, and we'll get into that. I'm going to talk about that as an option. But this particular guy is going to spend over $170,000 getting this surgery. He's done it once already, right? He went from 5'5" to 5'8", but now he wants to be taller than that. Let me go ahead and play that clip on World Star Hip Hop, and I'm going to come back.
I was 5'5", so I gained about 3 inches in 2016, and right now I'm at 5'8", and I decided that I was ready for that second time, so that's why we're doing the fibula. 1 week out from surgery, feels pretty good. I can do some walk with the walker, and then I'm doing some PTs, and I'm gonna start lengthening today when I get the device, and I'm looking forward to that. Dr. M is really nice. He does take care of you. He's available all the time to speak with you if you have concerns. So that's the main reason why I came back to him for a second time.
Okay, do you mind pulling up your shorts a little so I can see your thighs?
Oh,
amazing, yes. Okay. Now straighten out the leg, this one, yeah. Straighten it out if you can. Perfect. Good, now bend it. Amazing.
So he wants to be taller, and the caption on this video says because he's having issues with women. Now, some guys are going to say, Why not take that $170,000 and go overseas? Now, obviously, to be able to afford such a surgery, you have to have a lot of money. So maybe for him, the business or career that he's in is so lucrative, he would lose it in going overseas. Not every man has the ability to live overseas. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of things you need to get achieved to live in a place that's not your own country. But what I will say for this, right? If you're a man that is shorter or conventionally unattractive, and again, that ranges from woman to woman, at the end of the day, you really shouldn't care, because what you're going to figure out is once you do that femur and you get taller, you're going to find out that typically the same kind of woman is who you wouldn't have got or who you would have got if you were short or shorter. And typically the ladies you're trying to impress to be with you are not necessarily good people. Let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about. A lot of men feel that if you make a lot of money, you will be in the vicinity of ladies that would really appreciate you, and you would have a higher quality of women to select from. Now, I will tell you, you will have more to select from, but more doesn't mean better. In theory, more means you can have more good and more bad. But the reality is that everything is really based on values and standards and what kind of people you are. And you're going to find out that a lot of ladies always want you, and I'm not going to say always, but typically want you for a certain level of parity, which means that, look, if I'm going to be with you, what are you doing for me? And that pretty much is across the board. And so if a woman is only going to deal with you because, you're the normal height, then that doesn't mean that, you won't be spending a lot of money on her. She won't be using you and things like that. So, and I would say you gotta be comfortable with yourself. Listen, I have some flaws about me. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, although I'm very close to being 6 foot, if I'm not 6 foot, something like that. But if you're a guy that's 5'5" and you feel like you're too short, well, people are gonna talk about you anyway, right? I mean, it's gonna talk about everybody. Everybody gets talked about. But before you spend $170,000 to make your limbs bigger, what are you gonna get? Now, if it's the personal satisfaction that you're taller, that's great. But if you're doing it for a woman, it's wrong. Because whenever you do things in order to get a woman, you never really keep her. So if you're 5'5" or 6'5", that woman should be okay with you as a man. And there are plenty of women who will date you as a man. And I get it that you're going to have to work a little harder. You're going to have to be a little bit more resourceful. And you're going to have to build that community of ladies possibly around what you do to get attention. But being normal height won't get you attention. It won't get you a girlfriend, because somebody can still say you're ugly. Somebody can still say this or that. And my question is, do you really want to deal with such people? I just really, I really want to know that. And for a lot of guys out there who are going to break the bank, getting hair transplants, there are guys who are getting limb transplants and things like that. The question is, what do you expect to inherit on the other side? Because are you doing it just to give your money up, just to go to the club and just have a normal date with somebody like that? You can still turn a lady off by being a cornball, being a lame, all of that. So that should be taken into consideration, guys. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. I really appreciate you for all of you. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.